Hey everyone, welcome to Your First Digital Product, a show that helps maxed out service providers create their first digital product so they can gain an additional income stream, grow their impact without increasing one-on-one work, and experience more time freedom. On the show, I talk to business owners who have launched digital products and dig deep into how you can create, launch, and market your first digital product. I'm your host, Renee Morozowicz. Let's go. Hey everybody, today I am excited to talk to Liz Fetchin. She is the woman behind Octofree, a blog focused on providing beautiful, relatable recipes and other content to people with food allergies, intolerances, and other dietary restrictions. Hey Liz, how are you?
Hi, Renee. I'm doing great. How are you?
Good, thanks. I'm so excited you're here. And you just launched your first product, so I'm super excited to talk about that. We worked on this together. So, kind of just to let the audience know, but tell us about it, kind of like the details, what was it, all that good stuff. And then we'll kind of talk a little bit about the product.
Sounds great. Yeah, thank you so much for having me. This is so fun. We're usually like working together and collaborating, so this is great. So
We
my
both have
first
makeup on and
product,
stuff today.
yes,
Hair
we look a
done,
little
makeup.
different
Yeah.
than usual.
Yes.
Yeah, a little more zhuzhed up.
Right.
Um, but yeah, so my first digital product that I've ever launched was a Thanksgiving cookbook. It was called an Octofree Thanksgiving, and it was free of the top 8 most common food allergens, which are milk, eggs, peanuts, tree nuts, fish, shellfish, soy, and wheat.
Nice. It's good. I had to look it up later. I was like, wait, what are the 8 again? It's like trying to name like the 7 dwarfs. You're like,
It
wait,
is.
I have 6 of them. What are they again?
Yeah, it's like,
So they're right on the
what are the
website.
other ones? Exactly.
So
Exactly.
awesome. So for all for Thanksgiving, and it had like the full meal, right? From appetizers the whole
Yes.
way through dessert.
The full meal, it had roast turkey, mashed potatoes, gravy, a bunch of sides, a couple of dessert options, including, of course, pumpkin pie. And then also a couple of just fun seasonal cocktails
Oh yeah.
that I thought would be really fun, especially for people with restrictions. We don't always get those extra bells and whistles. So I thought that would
Mhm.
be fun to include too.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you had extra bonuses in too, right? Like little placeholder cards and the shopping list. Like you really went all out with the full thing. People I feel like got a really awesome, you know, digital product.
Yeah. So it was a lot of fun. So I tried to think about like people who have dietary restrictions. Often we don't have a lot of shortcuts that we can take advantage of, like ordering a pie from somewhere else or asking somebody else to bring something with them. So I thought, how can I save these folks time?
Mhm.
So I did put together a full shopping list, um, a timeline that told you like day by day what you
Oh
could
yeah.
do and what you could check off of your list. You mentioned the little printable freebies. So they're like little dish markers where you can say what the dish is free from. So yeah, I had a lot of fun with adding on other just pieces of value that I thought people would really appreciate.
Yeah, that's awesome. And it kind of dives into my next question about who your audience was and the problem it solved for them. So it sounds like your audience may be people who have dietary restrictions, maybe like yourself. So you could really identify with the problems that they face. Like I never really would have thought about like, just ordering a pie from anywhere like that. That's not an option and the saving time.
Right.
So that do you have anything, what else, like other thoughts do you have about, the audience in particular and the problems?
Sure. So my family and I have a ton of food allergies, dietary restrictions, and dietary intolerances. I think within my immediate family, including like my parents, my brothers, my husband, my son, and me, I think we have every top 8
Oh,
allergen
wow.
covered except for eggs. And then my parents went vegan. So
Oh my goodness.
it's like
Wow.
pretty much every single one. And I always just kind of assumed that my family was unique until my son started preschool and I walked in and there was a sheet on the front door of his classroom that said, children in this classroom have severe allergies too. And there were about 20 different allergens listed. And just
Oh,
speaking with other moms and just other people in my community, friends, acquaintances, I've just learned that there are a lot of people having to modify their diets for one reason or another, whether it's allergies, whether it's a metabolic imbalance, whether they have an autoimmune and they're going on an anti-inflammatory diet. So when the pandemic hit, I have another business and I lost
mhm.
some of those clients because of the pandemic. And I had always thought that having a blog or a resource for people with the same kinds of dietary restrictions as my family would be really helpful. Whether even if you're just avoiding gluten or just
Right.
dairy, like having somewhere you can go where all of the recipes are already modified for you. You don't have to figure out, how do I make this dairy free? How do I make this gluten free? Because that can be really time consuming.
Mhm.
So I've been growing my audience since then. I started the blog and the website, which Renee, you also helped me with the
Yeah, we did it.
website.
It was good.
We
Mhm.
did it together. That I think was in 2020, maybe 2021. Might have
Yes,
been
I think
2020.
maybe March of 2021 is when we launched it, but, obviously we
It was like
started,
what we were like
the year
working on it.
before. Mhm.
Hmm.
Right. Mhm. Right.
Yes. So we started that, and the audience has grown a lot since then. Um, Pittsburgh, people in Pittsburgh, which is where we both live, but also I've noticed lots of people from around the country have been interested in it. Um, and so, yeah, and the reason that I thought that this would be a good product to start with, I think you asked me that, is because, one reason is because I already had all the assets. So last
Yeah.
Thanksgiving, and it was an easy lift. So last Thanksgiving, my family and I actually did 2 Thanksgivings because one of my brothers was coming in October. So we did the whole Thanksgiving for him, and I got a bunch of photos and content. And then, of course, there
Nice.
was the real Thanksgiving as well. So when I thought about my first product, I thought, um, first of all, this would be an easy lift. It's not biting off more than I can chew as far as
Mhm.
trying to like do breakfast, lunch, dinner, or like this giant cookbook. I thought, this would be useful to people because they can make the full feast um, completely allergen free without having to modify. And it also felt doable for me as my first product.
Right. Yeah, it makes sense. I love that you say that it is something that you already have, right? So I think a lot of people, when they're thinking about creating something, they're like, I'm just going to start from scratch and, I'm going to create like the biggest course ever. Like, whoa, 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 take a step back.
Yes.
Like, what do you have already? And then what do you really know works? Like, you obviously served that meal twice. You made the meal, like you bought all the things, you served it, people liked it, you got that feedback. Like, that this works, it's validated already. So, leveraging that I think is great. Just to, a great start. And also I think like the timeline too, like, you did it one Thanksgiving and then it kind of maybe simmered in your mind for a year. And then, so when did you
Mhm.
decide that you were going to, after having made the meal one year, when did you decide, hey, I'm going to do the cookbook for next Thanksgiving?
I think that I actually kind of already had it in my mind as a
Mhm.
potential project and product when I was cooking those
Okay.
meals, which is why I
That's
snapped
nice.
all of the photos.
Mhm.
So I think, I kind of had that idea for a while, but I started writing it and I think reaching out to you and to my graphic designer. It was probably, I don't know. I'm trying to think when it was. I'm trying to think maybe spring
Mhm.
of last year when I started actually really sitting down and like typing up all of the recipes and writing the letter and writing all of the freebies and stuff. Um, and I will say I'm really glad that I gave myself so much lead time because it ended up taking more time and energy and actually being a lot longer than I
Mhm.
first. The product itself ended up being like a lot larger of a PDF page count wide than I would have guessed before I
Mhm.
started putting it together.
Because there's the product, which like I didn't, really help you with the specific product. You just came with it and said like, here's the title, here's the description, here's the price, here's the PDF. But like
Yeah.
the things that we did together were
Yeah.
like it was a lot. It was an additional, finding the right platform. I know we went through a couple things and weighing the pros and
Mhm.
cons of how the different platforms work and embedding on the website, changing some of the website content to reflect, changing the email marketing that you had weekly. You have a weekly, recipe that comes out every week, and that email goes out. So, kind of changing that to kind of give people some notice. The emails that go out for the sale, like, hey, I have a product, like, go buy it. The
Mhm.
coupons, and you did a lot of work too with you have a digital. What would you call her? A digital strategist, social media. Like, what
Yeah.
is her title?
So she's a digital strategist. Her name is Katie. Her company is Wild S LLC. She's also fantastic. And she really helped me a lot with the strategy as far as rolling it out in an email funnel, coming up
Mhm.
with social media content, et cetera. And I think also you both helped me a lot with figuring out like are there pieces of this that I can do more easily, or pieces of this that maybe I don't necessarily need to do?
Mhm.
So that was really, really helpful to have both of you to help me out with that.
'Cause I think that you can get overwhelmed. You're like, "Well, what if I did this or this or this?" And I think
Mhm.
she helped you with a coupon. Like, originally, you were going to do a coupon for the product, but then,
Mhm.
you had talked with her and she said that, then people maybe forget to apply the coupon and all this crazy stuff. So, I think you just put it on
Yes.
sale for a week instead. So,
Yeah.
like, having other people around to like, we all kind of, were working towards a common goal with the things that we were each good at to say, like, "Okay,
Yes.
this is how we're gonna get this launched." So, I don't wanna, like, discourage, my listeners from, like, "Oh, it takes a lot of work to launch a product." Because my message is, like, let's get something launched, but, maybe compared to, you were to launch the Octofree Joy of Cooking, like, maybe that was, it was a smaller
Yeah.
project that was doable, and you had that built-in date of, like,
Yes.
you wanted it to launch, before Thanksgiving so people could use it for Thanksgiving, so I think
Exactly. Yeah, and
that
that
too.
was great to know that I wanted to launch it on the day after Halloween, November 1st.
Mhm.
So it was like then we all were working towards that goal, and we were all able to use our expertise. Um, and also just like knowing what my team consists of. Like I think a lot of the decisions that we made were because I am a one-woman team. So the coupon example that you gave, I don't have a customer service person to be dealing
Right.
with people who forgot to use their code, or, something didn't work correctly, et cetera. So I think just coming up with your team based on what your skill set is. So, like, I was able to write the product, I was able to market the product, I was able to pitch it to media. Like, these are things that are within my skill set.
Mhm.
But I knew that trying to do what you do, and figure out what the best shopping platform would be and integrate it with MailerLite, my
Mhm.
my mail provider, those things are so far outside of my skill set that that could have overwhelmed me to the point where I may have said, you know what, I'm going to wait till next
Right.
Thanksgiving to do
Right.
this.
Yeah.
So I think, kind of like identifying and being honest with yourself about what your skill set is, and then seeking other experts that you trust to help you out with the pieces that don't come as naturally to you.
Right.
That was really helpful that I did that.
Mhm. And I think we also talked a lot about the process of it. Like, so we set a lot of things in place. Now, what's the process for the next product? Because, well, let's actually take it. Let's not go there just yet. But let's talk about the current product still before we jump into the next things. But, so what did you learn anything specific that you want to share, or how do you feel about the success of the project? Like, you don't have to tell us specific sales or income or anything like that, but, how do you feel about, now having gone through it? And I saw your emails come out too, asking for reviews. Like, so basically it's launched. It's still out there, but it's probably just going to lie low. You probably won't get a ton of sales for
Yeah.
Thanksgiving in, February, but, how do you feel about it now that it is over?
Yeah. So I feel really great about how it went. And I think one of the reasons why I'm really lucky to be friends with someone who has a very large digital product business. Her name's Kelly, and she runs the family freezer. She's been doing this for over a decade. And she was able to help me take a look at how many email subscribers I have, how many social media subscribers I have, and really identify a reasonable goal for how many cookbooks we thought that I would sell. That was really helpful to me because I'm a very goal oriented
Mhm.
person. And this is not my usual business. My usual business is media relations. So I could tell you in media relations, if you send out a press release to 250 contacts, you're likely to get X number of resulting stories.
Mhm.
When it comes to a digital product, this is brand new to me. So you could tell me, with 1,000 email subscribers, you would sell 100, or you could tell me 10. I mean, I just
Mhm.
had no idea. So
Right.
having her to kind of help me benchmark that was very, very helpful. And she actually said that I should think of a reasonable goal would be around 50.
Mhm.
And I ended up selling 55. So I
Nice.
exceeded my
That's awesome.
goal, which feels very
Yeah, that's awesome.
successful. I will also say a lot of things that came out of it that were not actual sales felt like huge win.
Mhm.
Um, there was a lot of I got to do a media relations effort for myself, which is actually my main career is as a
Mm.
media relations consultant. But I've never done an effort for myself. So that was really interesting to
That's
kind
awesome.
of be both the person pitching it and the person that I was pitching.
Mhm.
And that got a lot of really great coverage, which was wonderful just to get to interact with these people that I work with all of the time for my clients, with being
Mhm.
my own client. I saw a huge increase in my social media followers. I had a really big increase in my email list.
Nice.
Um, so I think a lot of that I would count as like a huge success. And it just felt really good. Like
Mhm.
just talking with family and friends and also the people who I interact with on Instagram, people were just so excited that I wrote a cookbook. Like people kept saying,
Mhm.
I can't believe you wrote a cookbook. I can't believe you're a cookbook author. Like
Mhm.
there, and it just felt really good it felt like a huge accomplishment. And I think I'm also super excited that although we were talking about how much work it is
Mhm.
to put out your first product, but I'm very excited that I already have the email funnel in place. I already have
Yes.
the
Mhm.
shop in place. So next year, on November 1st, I kind of
Mhm.
just hit repeat.
Mhm.
And that's where the potential, passive income part
Right. Right.
begins.
Mhm.
So it
Or
is
other
kind of a long game.
products, like other
Right,
products for
exactly.
other, events or even just products that could go all year long,
Yes,
like for any
exactly.
time. Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I like those other wins. I think that that's really important to look at when launching something that, getting more email subscribers, getting more followers or and maybe not necessarily
Mhm.
followers, but more engagement, I think
Yes.
is important. And maybe people aren't ready to buy now, but they may be ready to buy in the future. Like what is it, like 7 times you have to tell people 7 times
Right.
about something before they're
Yeah,
ready. So you're warming them up to this, to you
exactly.
having products. You have, the shop now has something on it all the time and it's
Right.
adding more. So it's, I feel like it's a huge, like it's, I don't know, it's not just like the first one, the second one, the third one. Like the first one is a big deal. Your first product
Yes.
is a big deal, maybe a bigger
Yes.
deal than the second product, but I don't know, maybe I'm biased. But
Mhm.
is there anything that you wish you had done differently? Or do you want to speak a little bit to, you mentioned, Kelly, having set your expectations, and I know you had mentioned to me about wanting to have a certain number of email subscribers before you launch the product. So, do you want to talk about any of that?
Sure. Yeah. So yeah, when I was talking with my friend Kelly, and this was years ago when I was first thinking about launching Octofree, she had said try to get around 1,000 email
Okay.
subscribers before you launch a product, which is right around where I was when I launched this product. Um, and I think I think that that was a good number. I feel like because I built that list organically over time, I think that a lot of those people are really engaged. And of course, this was interesting too. I don't even know if I've talked to you about this, Renee, but we set it up so that people could unsubscribe just from the sales funnel,
Oh, yes,
or
yeah.
unsubscribe altogether.
Mhm.
And I only had two people unsubscribe just from the sales funnel.
Oh, nice. Well, I'm
I
glad it worked.
did have like 20
Mhm,
unsubscribes from the whole thing,
mhm.
but then we ended up making that back up again, like, by the
Nice.
time the sale was over.
Mhm.
And that's a good thing. You don't wanna be
Right.
paying for subscribers that aren't interested in what you're
Right.
doing. So that's been really interesting to see that email list kind of grow and shrink a little bit and then grow again and shrink
Mhm.
and grow over time. That's been really interesting. But one thing that I will say that I thought was a really great tip that Kelly actually gave me, and I followed it. And I think anybody who had a digital product, this is like a very practical, good advice, is to build urgency by creating a certain time period where your product is on sale.
Okay.
So Kelly was kind of saying, the first time that she launched something, she just kind of put it up in the shop and it was there. And she thought, people are going to be on my website and they're going to find it and they're going to buy it.
Mhm.
But like you mentioned, when it comes to marketing and sales, it takes like 7 different touches for someone to actually make the decision to buy something. So, and a good way to motivate them, in addition to getting in front of them in a bunch of different ways, is to create a sense of urgency. So for
Mhm.
mine, we decided that we would put it on sale for 7 days. We ended up having it 25% off, and it was just already applied and checkout for those 7 days. And I will say, I think about 95% of my sales happened
Oh,
during
wow.
that sale period.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
I only sold, and that period was only a week. That was only November 1st to November 7th.
Mhm.
So then there was from November 7th to Thanksgiving where people could have bought more product at full price. A couple of people did. I think it was like
Mhm.
only 4 people or something like
Mhm.
that. So, it's like until you do it yourself, you're like, okay, that's interesting. Like I'll try that because why not? Let's see. And
Mhm.
I found what she said to be absolutely true. Like people respond to a sense of urgency. Having it on sale really amps up, I think, people's motivation to buy.
Right. Did you see anything? Because you had sent maybe, what, 5 sales emails over a certain amount of time. Did you see any correlation between, like, was it more after the first email or the second email or the third email, or was it kind of spread out?
That's a great question. So I did. I ended up sending 5 sales emails during the course of that week. The most successful ones were the very first one. I think the subject line was
Mhm.
like, today's the day,
Mhm.
the cookbooks for sale. That was the most successful one as far as the open rate and the click through rate and people actually purchasing the product. And then the second most successful one was where I included user reviews.
Reviews. I was wondering if that was
The
gonna be it.
reviews.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, so I gave out a certain number of the PDFs for free to people ahead of time. People who either had become like super fans on my
Mhm.
Instagram page. There's one woman who actually she said she's made every single recipe that
Wow!
I've put out. So of
That's
course, that's
awesome.
Diane. She got a free cookbook um, and then to just like a couple of trusted friends, a couple of people who I know have food allergies,
Mhm.
and I gathered their quotes and their kind of like testimonials. So the
Nice.
email that had just short, clips from those testimonials,
Mm.
that was the second biggest motivator as
Mhm.
far as open rate, click through rate, and sales.
That's awesome. Yeah, and I bet because those people were, like, real live people talking about their
Yeah.
specific experiences with the product and saying good things, like, I can see how that, would be a really great one to kinda motivate people like, "Oh, I need this too. I'm like them." So
Yes.
that's very cool. And I do like that sense of urgency that is good, in having that opening window that like, "Hey, get it." And also, for a product that is, if you're preparing a Thanksgiving meal, probably better to buy that cookbook the first week of Thanksgiving
Right.
than it is the day before Thanksgiving. So
Right. Right. It's
I
like
like
you need
that.
to order your turkey. Like,
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think I just want to touch on the email piece. You had mentioned 1,000 subscribers, and
Mhm.
I'm not really sure who will be listening to this or watching this on YouTube, and maybe they think that 1,000 subscribers is a lot. So do you want to talk to that just a little bit? And you mentioned about building this slowly over time, but do you want to talk about your general, like, this is my content plan, this is what I publish, how many blog posts a week, how many times are you on social media, the freebie that you have, anything really that talks about the list building part.
Sure, absolutely. And I will say that when I first heard that number, I was like, that's huge. That
How will
that
I ever
feels
get there?
insurmountable. Like, how will
Yeah.
I get to 1,000? That feels like it's years away. Um, and so a couple of things that I have found to be successful. So as you mentioned, having a good lead magnet.
Mhm.
So mine is it's a printable ingredient substitutions chart that just has all kinds of conventional ingredients and then what you can substitute for those if you're cooking allergen free. So like what can I use instead of heavy cream? What can I use
Mm.
instead of flour? It's like just this nice little printable chart and people get that for free when they join my email list.
Mhm.
So
Nice.
for other products, it can really be whatever your expertise is in. It can be a free, recipe, or it can be a free how to. There's so many different ways you can go. And again, this is something that I kind of already had.
Mhm.
Um, and I think especially this because this is a second business, and I think probably for a lot of your listeners, if they're looking to launch a digital product, it'll either be an extension of what they're already doing or a new business. And so trying to make things as simple as possible as far as the list, like trying to talk myself down from, you know, my freebie doesn't have to be a cookbook. A
Right.
lot of established food bloggers
Mhm.
will have their lead magnet
Mhm.
be an e-cookbook. And I
It's a
thought
lot.
that feels like a lot.
It's a lot for you, but
Um,
it's also a lot for them to consume, like, to consume as a free
that's
product.
true.
Like, when I download a lead magnet, if it's too long, I don't wanna read it. It's too like, "Oh my god, I can't."
Exactly.
consume all of this. So I think like a handy list, like it's a one pager, it's beautifully designed. They can print
Yes.
it and put it on their refrigerator. Like it's
Yes.
useful to your audience. You know the audience and you know the pain points that they're having. Like, oh, hey, this recipe calls for flour. What do I do?
Right. Exactly. So something that's, like you said, consumable, quickly, easy for you to create, but also very useful to your consumer is the perfect lead magnet.
Mhm.
I've also found that another really great way to build my list was doing partnerships with other businesses in the area that have a similar clientele. So for Thanksgiving, this was super successful. I partnered with Wild Rise, which is a gluten-free bakery, and we gave away a stuffing kit. So it included his gluten-free sourdough bread, all cubed up with herbs and everything you need. And it also included his sweet potato bread and one other baked good, and then a free copy of my Thanksgiving guide. So
Ooh, that's awesome.
partnering to do like fun giveaways with other like-minded small businesses. It's a win-win for both of you. It's a great way to kind of build your list and your followers quickly. Um, Also on Instagram, this is often like super um, effective and it's really easy. So you were asking how many times do I post and how many times do I send out an email? So I send out an email to my email list every Friday at 10 a.m.
Which is
It's usually a
automated.
recipe, which is
Automated.
automated.
Yeah, I
It's
just
so
want to point
great.
that out. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
the way that Renee set it up for me, it's amazing. I go into my CMS tool for my website. I post my blog post, and it can be as simple as a photo and a short recipe. And whatever I post between Friday at 10:05 a.m. and the following Friday
Mhm.
at 10 a.m. automatically goes out in an email on
Mhm.
Friday, which is so great that I don't have to do all these extra steps.
Mhm.
It's amazing. So I do that once a week. And usually when I'm recipe testing, I'll talk about it in my stories on Instagram. So I might be like making a new dish or trying, I saw something on this famous chef's page and I want to try making it top eight free so you can follow along while I do it. And it might get messed up, but that's part of the fun. So anyway, whenever I have something that's really, really good in my stories, and I know that I'm going to be rolling it out through my email, I'll then do a new slide that says, my email list is the first to see
Ooh.
all new recipes.
Ooh, yeah.
To sign up, to join my list, drop your email below. And then I do one of those question boxes and people can just
Ooh,
drop their email. And then I put their email in for them.
I like it.
I had a friend who reached out to me and was like, how are you automating that? And I was like, I'm not. I
Yeah.
put the emails in myself. But I get probably 5 to 10 new email addresses each time I do that,
That's awesome.
which, for the size of business that I have,
Mhm.
5 to 10, when you're thinking 1,000, that
Mhm.
doesn't feel like a lot, but it adds up over time if you're doing
5 to
that once
10.
every week or
Yeah.
once every couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Then also we set up on the website, there's a bar at the very top that says like subscribe. And then
Mhm.
there's also a pop-up to get
Mhm.
people to subscribe. There are a lot of people who just come through
Mhm.
organically that way because they find my website and they like the content and they're like, oh, I want to get emails too. So I would say like those are the main ways that I've built my email list. I'm trying to think if there's anything else like major that I'm forgetting.
Mhm.
Can you think
Yeah.
of any?
I can't think of anything else. Did you mention you do ads?
Oh, that's the
Like
other one.
Facebook ads or something maybe?
So I have done a couple. I don't do
Mhm.
them consistently.
Okay.
What I have found is that January, if you have a food, and I don't know how many of your
Mhm.
listeners are going to have like a food
Yeah.
based business, but when it comes to food, January is like the month to run
Good to know.
ads. I ran ads last January, February, okay, last December, January, February, and March. In January, I got like triple the amount
Wow.
of responders
Mhm.
for what I spent. As December was kind of like a dead zone
Mhm.
because everybody's just, I mean, you're just getting so inundated
Yes,
with
no,
marketing.
yeah. Mhm. Nothing's happening.
So January is kind of the month. So in January last year, I did run some ads, not a ton, on Instagram and Facebook. And Katie, my digital
Mhm.
strategist, helped me to set those up because, again, not my strong suit.
Mhm.
Um, but the list grew a lot during that month, like three
Nice.
times that it had. Um, but yeah, I don't have those up all of the time. Just, this is a side business and I don't
Mhm.
have a huge budget to spend on it. So So yeah, but doing some ads strategically, depending on what your business is, there are probably hot months and then months that are not quite so hot. And I think running
Right.
ads during those months that people are seeking your content
Mhm.
is a good way
Yeah,
to
I
spend.
like that. And I like the trial and error of it all that, we're going to try a thing. You maybe had a fixed ad budget. Okay, we're going to try some ads. The hypothesis is that X,
Mm-hmm.
see what happens. And then if it works out, then you can repeat it, the same with your
Exactly.
Instagram and the stories. So I'm not a huge Instagram person. So are only your followers seeing the stories? What about reels? Like, do you do reels because those get to everybody? Like, how does that work?
Yes. So the way that my digital strategist was kind of explaining it to me, so not as many people see your stories,
Okay.
just because the algorithm or whatever it
Ugh,
is, like
the
puts it in
algorithm.
front of certain
Yeah.
people. And then, so the people who are consistently seeing your stories, she said, think of them as your super fan, because that means that they are viewing your stories enough that Instagram is serving it up to them, like towards the front of their feed.
Mhm,
So it's not going to be as big of an audience, but it's going to be a very engaged audience.
mhm.
Um, so, and then as far as reels, I did do some reels, and reels are just so all over the place. Like
Mhm.
sometimes if you use a sound that is
Oh, the
trending, it'll
thing.
go
Yeah, I love
viral.
that.
I will
Yeah.
tell you, like, this is really interesting. Even the ones that I've had that have gone viral, at least in terms
Mhm,
of for me,
mhm,
which for me, it's like 14,000
mhm.
views, would
That's
I would
a lot.
consider that
Yeah,
viral.
yeah.
I do not get a big return on that as
Okay.
far as people who thought I haven't seen a huge spike in followers or a
Mhm.
huge spike in engagement. It seems like the people who see those reels when they go viral they're not necessarily people who are interested in what I'm doing
Mhm.
specifically. They just happen to see it because Instagram decided that it would
Yes.
boost it for whatever reason.
Mhm.
Um, so and it's also always changing. Like I was just talking to Katie the other day and I said, my reels for a while were going viral every time I
Mhm.
did XYZ. And now they're getting less than 1,000 views. And she was like, just try not to think too much about it. Try not
Yeah.
to tie too much meaning to
Mhm.
what's going on Instagram. As long as you are, regularly serving some kind of content
Mhm.
on Instagram. So I try for 3 times
Mhm.
a week. I try to
Okay.
post. I usually just because I like to have a plan and like a
Yeah.
process.
Mhm.
I try to do Monday, Wednesday, Friday, just because it's easy for me to remember. Friday is always whatever's going out in my email, but I wait till the email goes out and
Mhm.
then I give it some time and then I post something about whatever went out in my email, whatever new recipe. Um, and it's like sometimes I do reels, sometimes I'll just do a carousel of photos.
Mhm.
And then up in stories is kind of where it's like my real life, where
Mhm.
I posted
Nice.
something about doing this today, or
Mhm.
if I'm
Oh,
doing
yeah, fun.
something interesting for my PR
Mhm.
business, I might post that, or it's me cooking in my kitchen and
Mhm.
trying out new recipes or just, cooking dinner.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, I feel like Instagram, and I'm a person who I don't love living on social media.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel good to me.
Mhm.
Um, I'm a very private person, so like
Mhm.
I don't post a lot. I don't post about my son hardly at
Right.
all.
Right.
I
Right.
don't post a lot of what I'm doing on a daily basis as far
Mhm.
as like my personal life.
Mhm.
And that's something that's like kind of it's like a boundary that I've set for myself
Yes.
that helps keep
Mhm.
me feeling like I can do all of the things that I
Mhm.
have to do on a daily basis.
I love that because I think that a lot of people, have concerns about social media. What do I post? How often do I post? What should I expect? I think our expectations of social media are like amazing. Like, oh, if I post this thing, I'm going to get, a million subscribers and followers and buyers. And like,
Yeah.
that's just not, a lot of time it's like into the void. So I love that,
Yes.
you have like a specific plan of like, this is when I post, this is the type of content I post. And then you're just on Instagram, like that's just where you're not like I'm
Hmm.
on Twitter and on LinkedIn and on this, like you picked one platform, you're doing the thing. And really it's a lot of it is coming from the website, like new recipe, and you also
Yes.
do what product reviews and those are love letters, right? And then
Yeah, and I was actually thinking we might
the
need to
other
change the category names because
okay.
I've done like kind of different things than what I set
Okay.
out to do. So the things that tend to do the best are either brand new recipes,
Mhm.
roundups. So I just did one that people loved. It was like, I think it was like 10 mood boosting foods for dark nights or something like
Ooh,
that. And
okay.
people just went crazy for this one. So like those kinds of roundups that now that I've built content over time, um, I have enough content where I can do those kind of like roundup. And I always include one from another blogger. Like if I'm
Nice.
doing 10 mood boosting meals, I'll include one from another blogger and of course credit them. And then I tag them. And sometimes that's another way to get interest if they share what you do.
Yeah.
The product reviews I haven't done as much. What I've kind of learned, and this is another thing over time, like what you think people are going to want from you and then what they actually want from you. I'm finding that people really want easy meals that they can make quickly that are allergen free. That's what people are asking for. That's what gets the most engagement. So I haven't done as many product reviews. And what was the other thing that I was doing?
I know. Okay.
I was
Right.
doing love letters, which were like product reviews, and then how to's, which I haven't done as much of. It's been more like recipes and recipe roundups. I do think I have had some people say like, I would like it if you took me shopping to Whole Foods and
Ooh,
showed
oh my
me.
God, that sounds amazing. You should
Or
put
to
that on
naturally
YouTube.
store goals.
Not that I just want to give you another thing to do, but like,
No, yeah, I've had a
ooh.
lot of people. I like enough people have asked me for that it's on my list of things that I
love it. I love that
do.
so much. Oh my goodness. I
Yeah.
think that's a great idea. You should, I mean, even just to try it, right? Like something. And
Yeah.
I think that, that not that you need to take everybody's feedback, but like if you're getting a lot of the same thing and your goal is, right, to build this business, to build products, like, following what people want, as long as it's still in line with, who you are and what you want to offer, like, let them tell you the thing. You don't have to
Exactly.
guess. You don't have to like put a ton of time, and money into a product that doesn't sell. Like, let them guide you. Like, I love that. Ooh, and I just love that idea. That's such a good idea. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I think, and it'd be fun too. I mean, I do it every week, and to me,
Yes.
it's so easy and normal because it's just what I do. But I could see how, especially if you're new to cooking this way, it would be like, oh, okay, I don't need to waste my time trying these 5 different products. I could just buy the one that
Just tell me the
try.
good one. Yes.
Yeah.
And maybe tell me a little bit about why you don't want to buy these other ones or, this one. Like, and I
Exactly.
think like, and you had mentioned about the behind the scenes, people don't just want they don't just want the recipe. They want a little bit of you. And if they can relate to you and they like you, and they trust you, then they, and they feel like a closeness to you, like you taking them shopping, I feel like is a neat thing. Like,
Yes.
okay, I'm too excited about that one.
Yes. No, for sure. And I think in the same vein of like them telling me what they want, that, and I don't know if I'm skipping ahead, so let me know, but that has kind of led me to what I think my next product
tell
is
me.
going
That's
to
my
be.
next question. Yeah, tell me. So,
Okay.
what are your plans? What's the future look like for your products?
So I think my next product is also going to be an e-cookbook, but it's going to be easy weeknight dinners.
Ooh, yeah.
So it's going to be stuff that's like, it's either a sheet pan meal or it comes together in one pot. And it has your protein, it has your starch, it has your vegetable all in one. Just like super easy, 30 minutes top, start to finish. And people have actually asked for what they want me to do is they want me to put together a full week. Like this is your week,
like a meal plan.
A meal plan. This is your week of dinner recipes. Here's your shopping list for that week. And just put together, like 5 where it feels balanced for your week, where there's like, maybe it's vegetarian 2 days, maybe it's chicken one night,
Yeah.
And to have that for like a full month. So a full month's worth of weekly meal plans with shopping lists seems to be the thing that the most people have been excited about, have been asking for.
I love that. Yeah, that's good. I actually did buy one from Budget Bites, and I tried it. So
nice.
I did I like that sort of like it takes all the guesswork out. It's like I don't want to pick something for every day. I just want somebody to pick it for me. And just kind of having all that in one, I think is a really great idea. I love that. That's excellent. So will you use recipes then? Every recipe will come from the content you've already created, or will there be some new ones? Like, how will that work?
I think it needs to be mostly new ones because it's a product that I'm planning to sell. I do think that there will be some, like, especially the ones that are on my website that are the most popular,
Hmm.
are the easiest and the tastiest. I will include those somewhere in the lineup because that's what feels natural because they're in
Hmm.
my
Yes.
regular rotation or my lineup. But I think a lot of the content will be new, and I've actually been developing some of those
Oh,
ideas and
nice.
some of those recipes already. So I'm hoping to launch that in the spring, like in either April or May. And then I think, thinking way ahead, I think after I have these two e-products, I would love to do some kind of membership
Oh,
program
yeah. Where
eventually.
they got access to something fresh,
Yes.
something different, something additional, something maybe you like maybe some access to you, something like that. Like,
Yeah, maybe like
mhm,
cooking classes,
mhm,
and I could see a wide variety of things. Like if you're just getting started with gluten-free baking
mhm,
or, prepping meals for a full week, I could see, the possibilities are endless. I could also see giving access to like exclusive recipes
mhm,
to other time savers. Like maybe you can generate your own shopping list.
mhm.
I would love to eventually partner with like a Whole Foods or a Thrive Market and have it so that you just say like populate my cart,
Yes. Oh my
and
goodness.
just making things as easy for
Yeah.
people as possible because as you say, getting a healthy, delicious meal on the table for families is something we all have to do.
Mhm,
And when you have intolerances and dietary restrictions, it's not as easy as
mhm,
let's get pizza one night, let's go to a restaurant one night, let's get a
mhm,
meal kit. Um, None of those things are we can't do any of those things
mhm.
and feel safe about making sure
Right.
that we're not gonna get something that's cross-contaminated or contains
Mhm.
one of our family's allergens. So I think just anything that can save people time and also just mental load
Yes,
of
that
like,
totally is. I
"What
don't
am
know
I
if it's
gonna
just
make this
because
week?"
yeah, like, at the end of the day, I don't know. I mean, I know that
Yeah.
people are thinking about this, but yes, I'm terrible with it. Like,
I
I
think
just
everybody
I
is.
just don't have the energy to figure it out and then go and buy it, and they don't have this, and what do I substitute, and then make it, and then it doesn't
Right.
turn out like oh, that's a whole thing, but that's a
Right, right,
different
right.
different
And
conversation.
then your son's like, "Mom, this is medium." That's what my son always says. When he doesn't love it, it's not
Yeah,
horrible. He'll
yeah.
say, "Mom, I'm sorry to tell you this, but this one is medium." And I'm
Nice.
like, "Oh, I'm glad. I guess
My son will
Adam's
just
not making the cookbook."
right. My son will just eat it really, really slowly, and I'm like, "Oh my god. Can you please just eat faster?" He's not a kid that would just, like, not eat it. He'll just take for he will just
It'll
sit
just take a
himself
while.
there, like when we were young and your
Oh,
parents were
yeah.
like, "Sit there until you eat it." He'll just sit himself there, like, he'll just be forever, but anyway. Okay, so let's kinda wrap this up. So
Sure.
if you and I know you've talked about your, some tips, but, like, maybe what 2 tips do you have for some like, what were the most important things you're glad you
Mhm.
did for somebody creating their first digital product? 1 tip, I don't know, however many tips you have really,
Yeah, so
about advice.
I think to summarize, I think definitely the time period where it's on sale to create
Mhm,
urgency. I think doing whatever you can to bring in help to fill in
mhm,
your gaps. So, like, I hired you, which was amazing, lifesaver. I also have a digital strategist and I also have a graphic designer because I'm not a designer. And using your skill set. And then I think keeping your expectations low as
mhm,
far as, not expecting something to just like blow up and be the greatest thing or
right,
make all your money back that you spent on it the first year, like kind of
mhm,
having that long game
right,
strategy in mind where you think I'm going to put a lot of work into it this year and I might not reach my goal
mhm,
even, and that's okay because then I can keep promoting it every
mhm,
year and eventually it's going to pay off. And
right.
also focusing on not just the monetary but also all of the other benefits that come from doing something like this.
Yeah, I like that, I like that. And, even with your like, your first blog post that you did, your first recipe, like, it wasn't you're not an overnight success, you didn't just get all of your subscribers from the first blog post or things like that, so, you because you had built you created content consistently and, you know, sent emails consistently and, put time in on social media consistently, it builds. So the same thing with a product, like a first product, I try to like set people's expectations a little bit lower that it's not like,
Yes.
oh, you build it and then everybody's going to buy it. Like this is a process. It's one step in a process of selling digital products. So I don't know, just
Yes.
my 2 cents.
And I think also just don't expect it to be absolutely perfect.
Yes.
Like, don't expect the product itself to be perfect. Don't feel like every photo needs to be absolute perfection. My kitchen is now redone, but when I first started doing this, I had this house's original 1960s kitchen, like original dishwasher, original stove that was tilted to the left. And I had in my videos, I had to like try to get the oil to go over that way. But people don't care.
Yeah.
People, and in fact, sometimes that can be more relatable than if you're in this gorgeous, like state of the art, kitchen or whatever it is that you do. So I think the other thing is just like also knowing that you offer a unique perspective that is needed in the world. And just because there may be 500 other people doing the same thing that you do, that doesn't mean that your contribution is any less important or any less, like needed in the world. So like, don't let that hold you. Don't let that hold you back because there's enough love to go around.
Oh, there is. And there's a lot of people out there, way more than we even understand. And like you mentioned, a lot of people need this, and people who can relate to you at this point in your life, maybe they're at the same point in their lives and they can maybe relate to you a little bit better than they could somebody else who's talking about, allergen-free dishes that they make. So, like I think it's, what you say is really important. Okay, so tell people where they can find you online and then we'll kind of wrap this up.
Sure, that sounds great. You can find the beautiful website that Renee actually developed for me. It's octofree.com. And then I'm on Instagram at Octofree. And you can sign up for my emails right from my website.
Awesome. And we should Randy really did the design. So we should give her the credit. Yes, like I made it work. If the filtering works, then you can give me the credit. But she did the design. So that's why it looks as good as it does.
Yes. Awesome. Randy is amazing.
Yes. Awesome. Okay. Well, thank you so much, Liz. And it was great to talk to you today.
Thank you so much for having me. This was so fun.
Yay. Hey, thanks for listening. I'd love to continue the conversation in your inbox. Email subscribe to hey@yfdp.show or sign up in the show notes to get bi-monthly emails about how you can create, launch, and market your first digital product. Can't wait to see you there.